New Master Grade SD has been announced today, and we were wrong on all of our earlier prediction. Looks like the first mobile suit to be featured is not the RX-2 Granddaddy, but the Freedom Gundam. In terms of size, we were wrong as well. Looks like this is going to be a very big SD kit, 150mm, and it also does look like it's going to cost a lot more, 4,290 yen. It's way more than what we anticipated for this particular line. Looks like Bandai is going all out to make sure that you will spend your money on this particular kit. I have to say, I'm actually quite surprised at the size. Even at 150mm, it does look like the proportions of this particular kit looks a lot better compared to the QMSV series that was announced and released in China last year. And in terms of detail, there is actually quite a lot of details going into the overall design of the Master Grade SD Freedom Gundam as well. So that is actually one very good sign. It does look like almost like a amplified design for the Digimon figurized line as well. The one thing that I'm not very clear is that whether we're gonna get stickers or what are they called, because as you can see from the official pictures, they don't actually include any markings. So that is one thing that they'll keep us guessing until this kit is finally released. There's some new gimmicks coming for this kit in addition to the inner frame that enables you to create all the cool poses that you can see here. There will be some new gloss metallic finishing parts on the chest and also on the Vulcan gun cannons, and there will also be a clear part for the eye as well. I'm just disappointed that Bandai didn't include the cartoony big eyes that we've seen in the original SD Gundam. So it looks like they are going with a more serious look for this particular kit that costs a lot more than 3,000 yen. So all in all, it looks very interesting, and I'd be quite keen to actually get that particular kit to test it out. The one other big surprise from the announcement today was actually this guy, the Gundam Aerial. I was not expecting them to release a full Mechanics 100, so that was actually quite interesting. So if you look at the new upcoming Gundam Aerial releasing in March 2023, it does look like it'll be incorporating the metallic gloss finishing parts, just like what we've seen on the MGSD Freedom Gundam as well. So I don't think they'll be using stickers. And surprisingly, this time around, the Bandai has actually improved on the movement, especially on the leg as well. As you can see here, it is almost like a 1.5 Master Grade-ish that some parts will be moving when you move the legs to create the Iron Man pose, crouching on one knee. So it does look very good. But the biggest bonus of all for the for the full Mechanics 100 scale Gundam Aerial is the overall proportion. It looks really good. The only downside is that the stand for you to mount all the parts, as you can see here, is not included in the kit, so you have to buy the separate parts for the stand to create that cool pose. This is the high grade 144 scale. There's actually quite a lot of 144 scale high grade kits coming out next year in conjunction with the Witch from Mercury. This first one is the Michaelis 1,760 yen. Finally, an easy to pronounce name for the mobile suit under the WOM series, so it does look very nice. The arm looks like it expands just like the Iron Man gimmick that we've seen from Hot Toys, so that is actually quite an interesting gimmick. But the overall design looks very clean, the colors as well, and I do really appreciate the web designer in Bandai for using the same color backdrop as the same mobile suit color as well, so that's actually very interesting. The next one is the Begware Pente. I hope I didn't butcher the name, but it does sound like it. Same price as well. Looks like it's quite affordable, and it's also all coming out in January 2023. The cross-like shape is able to expand, and there's some gimmicks that comes into it, which looks quite interesting, to be very frank. I quite dig this overall design. It does have some of the element that we've seen from the Gundam Build Fighter series that we've seen last 1-2 years ago. This particular kit, this one is called the Hydra. I think I pronounced the name correctly. This is also a very nice looking design kit. It's coming out again sometime in February 2023. The feet itself is the one that I'm most concerned about. As you can see from the overall design of the Hydra, the feet is really small. I do think that it's going to be a big pain to pose this guy when he's standing up. He's probably going to be falling over quite frequently as well. Looks like there's some new movement incorporated to create the ab crunch, and also some new parts for the shoulder as well. The Gundam Riff is probably the one that has the most Gundam looking like mobile suit here. The Gundam Riff is coming out also in 2023, and this one is the Riff 2019. This looks like the core Gundam grown up. maybe that's just me, but this guy is only coming out in 2023 March, so gotta wait a while for this to actually come out. I really love the Gatling gun design and the overall bulkiness of this particular Riff that's coming out in March 2023. The colors looks pretty good, but in terms of articulation, doesn't seem like it incorporates the app crunch that we seen on the 100 that we seen earlier. This Gundam design, the Riff Tone, is the one that it's a very funky looking design. It looks pretty good on the CG rendering, but when you look at the actual kit, it looks like it's a stunted overall design. It looks like it's borrowing some design elements from the Boundary War series. So the leg itself looks like it's been cut short pretty much. So I'm not sure how I am feeling towards the design of the Riff Tone, to be very, very frank. It looks quite weird to me. So other than that, it looks okay. There's a new add-on edition backpack for the for the Gundam Ariel. This is the Mirasol flight unit. Pretty cheap, less than 1,000 yen, and it looks like it also comes with an additional pair of hands as well to create the flying movements, of the hands, together with the backpack that you can attach onto the 1/4 scale Gundam Ariel. Looks like there's some gimmicks for you to lock in the wings when it is actually locked onto the backpack of the mobile suit itself. The Zowat is probably one of the most interesting design and also has the best articulation of all the high-grade 1/4 scale coming out next year. If you look at it, it has a very grunt-like colors and also overall design. I really dig the overall design of the Zowat. What is interesting is not only just the backpack, but I think in terms of the overall articulation to create the ab crunch, the movements on the torso and also on the stomach as well. Looks like it can really do some very crazy movements on the head and also on the abs. So overall, quite looking forward to this particular guy because it is also quite cheap, 1,060 yen, 1,760 yen. My apologies for that. The next one is actually the most funniest one, which is called the Tikbalang. So it sounds like a Filipino name, flight unit. So this is the one that you should use to carry the Zowat around to the battlefield, I suppose. So this is quite an interesting unit. So glad that Bandai is actually finally bringing back certain elements of the flight units for the mobile suits, as you can see here. Now let's talk about the biggest announcement today, and that is of course the Master Grade 20th anniversary version car, which was what we predicted in our earlier video. If you've seen that particular video, we predicted that it's going to be the Zeta, and it does come true. So thank God for that. Looks very, very good. There's some very big changes overall if you compare that to the overall real grade. It does look quite close to the real grade design, but a little bit taller and longer as well. And also in terms of the leg thrusters, it really does look like the overall RG unit blown into 1/100 scale. If you compare that with the Master Grade 2.0, you can see that there's a very big difference in terms of the shield, the wings, and even the head. The head does look to be a lot more smaller and slimmer, and the overall backpack, the wing unit, also seems to reside lower overall compared to the Master Grade 2.0. I actually have the Master Grade 2.0 still in my collection. I've yet to build it. Maybe I'll start building that once the Master Grade Zeta version card does come out. The version car Zeta Gundam does look a lot more, in terms of the design lines, it does look more seamless, right? It flows very, very nicely, and it is able to recreate all the different poses, the cool poses that you can see and remember from the anime itself. One thing that I am actually quite, I'm a bit concerned is in terms of the shield. The shield and the overall wing span of the Zeta Gundam does look to be a little bit smaller compared to the original version of the Master Grade 2.0. So I think the version card, in terms of the shield and also the overall wing, does look to be a little bit smaller, but I think overall design wise, the proportion, it does look to be a lot more streamlined. So it does come with water decals as well, and I think overall it looks very, very good. But the thing is, if you're going to be buying this kit, the biggest concern for all of us is how well will the mobile suit kit itself be able to stand on its own, because it's going to be quite fragile. I don't know whether fragile is the right word, because for those of us who have built transformable Gunpla Kits, we all know that there's a lot of pain when it comes to transforming and also posing the Zeta Gundam kits. So for me, I think overall it looks really good, but you definitely need to buy two of these because you want to have one on flight mode and another one on the mobile suit mode, just looking badass by standing on its own. So I think overall it is quite an interesting release, and of course the price tag, wow, not cheap, but I think that is expected for a version car kit, especially since it's come with a water decal, together with the kit. It does look very good in terms of proportion wise. It would be nice to actually, instead of just getting master grade version car, hopefully one day Bandai will actually get, Mr. Kazuki Hajime to actually produce a perfect grade for once. I think that will be actually quite more interesting for fans like me. So that's all for all the coverage today. There will be some other new kits coming out announced tomorrow by Bandai as well. Some of them is the H Glanza Master Grade. It's going to be a premium Bandai, so that's coming out announced tomorrow. And the other RX00 is going to be coming out also premium Bandai as well, a high grade kit. It's going to be announced tomorrow as well. So overall, I think the look and feel, as if you compare the pictures between the last real grade and also the Master Grade 2.0, you can see that there is quite subtle difference between the two model kits, but I think it's well worth looking at the Kazuki Hajime's version interpretation of the mobile suit design for the Zeta Gundam. It does really look very good. I'm just glad that he didn't, redo the unicorn, the wing. So glad that we actually have a different mobile suit under the Kazuki Hajime line. So thank you guys for watching. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe and you let me know which of the release announced today is the one that you'll be picking up in 2023. Master Grade SD is a very interesting release, so it'd be cool to see if any of you actually are gravitating towards that particular release. Till then, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the next video coming up very soon.